pre and postnatal. And it's just something that you can do throughout your day. And also if your baby has arrived, then you can do it with your baby. These things are great for at least 6 weeks post. And then you can do, if you're pregnant, then you can do this up until you have your baby. So this is a great move that you can do, or moves that you can do as many times as you want. And then my bolster, my lovely bolster today, will be my baby. Aw, he's so cute. Okay, so that's my baby. Okay, let's get started. So you can have a mat, and some blocks are helpful. And we're just going to sway your hips here. And your baby can be out front, or they can be in between your hands. You're just swaying your hips. This is really nice to have just eye contact with baby, especially in the beginning. In the beginning of your practice, you want to start low, and then you'll work your way to get a little higher away from them, and just easing yourself away. So then we'll start to do some cat-cows. So you can inhale, open your chest, and then exhale, round. You're lifting through the lower back, and then take a look at your belly button or baby. Say hello. Inhale, and then exhale, round. So this rounding is something that I've done in previous classes about hugging baby in. It's using your core muscles to engage baby and hug baby in. These are muscles that you're going to use to push, if you do push. And then also if you're in postnatal, it's helping you fight gravity and draw your core in, which is great. So you're swaying here. We'll flip your hand so that you're stretching out your wrist. I like to do it one at a time. And then we'll do the other side. Flip it over and just sway your hips. Maybe you're still doing cat-cows. It's a little bit more restrictive when you're stretching your wrists. And then we're gonna do some circles with your legs. So if your wrists are hurting you, you can always go knuckles, or you can have your forearms on blocks. And then we're just gonna do like 4 circles in one direction. I'm gonna still lift through my low back, and 4 circles in the other. Working my hips, turning on those muscles. And then I'm going to extend that leg out behind me and lift the leg, squeeze and drop, and squeeze and drop. If you're pregnant and you feel like this is very uncomfortable for you, then don't do it. And then also don't lift your heel so much that baby dips, or you squeeze or drop the low back. You want to keep your low back lifted the whole time. So just feel that glute engage and then drop back down. It doesn't have to be too high. And then we'll take that foot to the floor. You'll spin your whole foot flat. Your left leg, it's going to be a kickstand for you. You're going to take it back behind you. And then you'll reach your right hand up to the sky. And then we'll reach it over, and this is stretching, this is creating more space. And then just doing a couple of shoulder openers, big circle here. Make sure you're pressing your hips forward. It's a lovely stretch. And then maybe do the circles in the opposite direction. If you're feeling really strong today, then maybe lift up the leg. You can even pulse it if you want more action here. You can look up or look down. And then we'll take that hand down, and then we're going to take your right leg over to the side. And then if your baby is here, you play a little peekaboo, so you sway over, and this is where the stretch is. When you sway over to the right, you'll feel a stretch in the groin, and then over to the side, hi baby, and then away, and then hi baby, over, back to center, hello, and a couple more of these, hey, And then we'll heel toe your right foot to the front. And I like to use blocks because we really only want to stretch at about 75%. So even if you have had your baby and if you're still breastfeeding, you still have that relaxin in your body. So you just want to only stretch at 75%. So if you are here and it's like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy stretch, then lift yourself up. Get some blocks or something. You can do this with a chair too if you want. And just sway forward and back. You can choose to lift the toes or keep the foot relaxed. It's up to you. We're just here, play with baby. And I keep the foot on the side so that if you are pregnant, there's room here. What we don't want, is to go like this. Because if you do this and you have your blocks or your hands on either side of the foot, then there's no room for baby to be there. So we really want to accommodate. And so your foot can still be on the mat, just out to the side. If we're doing this and your back knee is hurting from the floor, then you can cushion your back knee. And also if you're in this position, you're like, I just want more. Then lift up your back knee, and you can do the same thing with the back leg lifted. Yeah. And then we're going to lift up that back leg anyway, and we're going to come forward. And then you can just sway your hips out here. If baby's still in the middle, then that's fine. Scooch a leg behind you, and then the other leg, and then sway it out a little bit. We'll get rid of the blocks. You can either go for a child's pose, knees wide, toes together, or you can go for a downward facing dog. And you can just pedal out your feet here a little bit. If you're feeling feeling really strong today, you can go forward, go, and then back. So it's just a second forward, inhale forward. Make sure your hips err on the side of being too high rather than too low. Inhale forward, hi baby. And back. Even if you're pregnant, that's fine to do. Just make sure that the hips are higher rather than lower. We do not want this. This is not going to encourage strength. So, up and then down. So you choose. You can do 1, 3, 5 of those. So then we'll do the other side. We'll sway, sway. And we'll do those knee circles. You can always do a couple of cat-cows in between, engaging your core, looking at baby. And then we'll do some circles. So we'll do 4 in one direction. Nice strong neck here. And then we'll do 4 in the other. Looking forward, so we don't have that texting neck or breastfeeding neck. And then we'll take that leg back behind you, and we'll just do a couple of lifts. Remember, just to keep the heel in line with the booty. Not any higher, just feel that left leg squeeze. 3, 2, 1. And then spin that heel down. Take that right foot behind you, and then reach your left hand up to the sky. I'm going to shift my hips forward, so I get a nice stretch through my hip. And I'm doing some circles here, big circles around. Opening it up. You can look up, you can look down. You feel a spot, you can just reach into it and breathe into that space. And maybe do the other direction. And then if you're feeling strong, you can lift up that leg and maybe pulse it. Don't push it. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. And then we'll take it back down. And then we'll take that left leg out to the side. We'll do those swaying, and you can do peekaboo with your baby, sway. Again, if you find a spot and you're really enjoying it, then just stay over there and breathe into that space. And then we'll take your blocks and we'll take that left leg around to the front. I start with the ankle right underneath the knee, and then I'm just gonna shift it back and forth. If you need to go on the vente setting on your blocks, that's fine as well. If you need to walk your blocks back with you, that's great. That's totally fine. And baby's right here. Yeah. And then if you lifted up your back leg on the other side, then go ahead and make sure it's even. And then we'll just lift up that back knee anyway now, and then scooch yourself forward, and then just swaying side to side. For our last pose, we're going to go into a wide leg forward fold. So step your feet wide, and you can use your blocks here, and we're just gonna sway side to side. Side to side. Little wiggle here. And maybe baby, hi baby, hi, you're right here. Or if you want, you can shorten your stance, have a bend in your knees, and sway baby side to side. Yeah. Or just tickle them. Me and this bolster, we're getting close. I gotta name you. Okay. So we're just resting. And even if you wanted, you can take your forearms to your blocks like this and just rest. Just relax your head. Then if you want to add one more thing before we're done, bend your knees, lift up through the low back a little bit, and then we're going to squeeze. You're going to bring your block up with you and squeeze your elbow back, and then release it down. Squeeze and release it down. So we've got, you can do as many as you want here. You can do this with actual weights or with blocks or with water bottles. Make sure your knees are a little bent. You're lifting up through the low back. And we're going. So strengthening your back is really important for just quality of life once your baby arrives. Well, and in general, when you're pregnant too, it's super helpful to have your back nice and strong to counter all the front body weight, baby and boobs. All right, and then you can do as many of those as you want, and then you can rest, a little sway again. And then when you're ready, slide baby over here, walk your blocks over here, release that back knee down, take it back into your tabletop, a little sway. And then you can be done. Perfect, right? Or you can do a child's pose and then do it all over again if you would. But you can have your arms on the blocks, resting, relaxing your forehead down. Make sure your knees are wide. And rest. All right, this feels really good, so I'm just gonna let us go just like that, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this class. Let me know if you had any questions, and I'll see you next time.